Hello everybody, 6-Speed Dakota here, and today we're back in the garage. Finally, I have some time to myself again. School's not been super busy for me lately because it's kind of the start of the semester, and it's the project semester, so it's going to be a little bit busier with other things. So as of right now, things are just kicking off, and I don't have a whole ton of homework. Knock on metal, I guess, that I don't get too much more. But today's project, I bring you my grandma's 2003 Honda Accord. Just needs an oil change. She hardly drives the thing. It has about 60,000 K on it, and it's a 2003, so it's hardly got any mileage on it. Now the reason I wanted to film this one's a little bit unique as to where the oil filter is, but I also like to kind of add a whole bunch of videos, you know, of unique things, like the unique oil change, not just how to change your oil, like, you know, try to do different vehicles. It seems to help more people doing it that way. Plus I enjoy making videos on my spare time. So, first thing we do is you'll notice that it's actually on jack stands right now and not on ramps. And there's a reason for this. And the first step, I'll show you why. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get in. Now, we're going to turn the key to on. Now we're going to turn the wheel all the way to the right so we can gain access to the oil filter. And while we're at it, okay, and right down here, I don't know if you can see it, but right down by the kick plate is the hood latch. We'll pull that. Now somebody complained about the camera shaking. I'm trying my best. My tripod went missing. So, bear with me, please. So, nice thing about the V6 models, usually only the V6 models, have these nice hood shocks. And the V6 models also hide the oil filter way down in there, so you just barely see it. So, first step, like with any other oil change, we're going to take the oil cap off. And what I usually do is I top up that washer fluid reservoir. So I'm going to go get my coveralls on, and we're going to start draining the oil. Okay, one thing I almost forgot to mention, stuff you're going to need a new oil filter. I'm not going to mention what brand it is because people hate me for the brand. It's the only one they had. I'm not going to mention it because of I don't want to be hated on. And your favorite flavor of some 5W20. And of course, your suitable draining gun. And the only tools you're going to need for this job are a 17mm wrench and a good oil filter wrench. The nice thing is this car is really easy to get at. So, move on to the next. Okay, so once you're under the car, for some reason it kind of smells like a skunk under here. So you'll notice that here's your transmission. And for people who are wondering, there's the transmission drain bolt. And right there's the engine oil. There's no mistaking it because it says engine oil right there. So this here is a 17mm. Oops. It's hard when you have to look through the camera viewfinder while doing this. Or not the viewfinder. They got rid of those centuries ago. The screen. This thing hardly sees any kind of road salt, nothing. Like it's hardly ever driven. Old lady driven car. I wouldn't say old. She's going to kill me if she watches this video. Luckily she doesn't have a computer. Granny might be mad at me. Alright. And there we go. There's the oil draining. So once the oil's finished draining, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so the oil's pretty much finished draining. I'm not super concerned about getting like every little trickle out because this car is still about 2,500 K before it needs to be serviced. But it's been about 16 months. So, I'll wipe off the drain plug. We'll put a new washer on it. Now people ask me, why do you replace the washers? And I usually say, Well, cheap insurance, right? The washer, what? For a pack of however many costs, what? A few dollars? And that's relatively cheap compared to having to go and replace the all the oil again if the filter or if the washer's leaking. So you may as well just spend the extra, I don't know, 75 cents at the Honda dealership. There we go. Don't need to kill that thing because that oil pan is made of aluminum. So now we'll move on to the next step, which is changing the oil filter. Alright, so now we're inside the fender well. You can see where the CV half shaft is. Pull the camera out. It's sitting on my floor jack right now. Here's the side of the car. There's the wheel. Now we're going to go right in between the two. And it's right there. So, bring the pan underneath it. And if I'm lucky, which I'm not, it should just twist off. This isn't so bad because it's got a tubular control, or not a tubular, it's got a actual cast or forged control arm. But the ones with the stamped steel ones, you get oil in the control arm and everything else, and it makes a bit of a mess. Honda actually has a special tool that deflects the oil. Oh crap, my phone's going off. Oh, congratulations. You got all this stuff written down? It just sounds like you're listing it all off, like you've written them down. Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, wherever you guys are going, okay, you go to Jane's. What the hell? Anyhow. No, I'm just bugging you. Alright, you guys have a fun time then. You know where I'll be. Alright, bye. That rude interruption. There we go. Now all I need to do is install a new filter. Okay, so I got the new filter primed. As always, we wipe this off. Make sure that there's not another gasket on there. Since I'm trying to hurry, I'd not taken the wheel off. At Honda, they can go from underneath a lot easier. But if you really think it'll make it more convenient, the best thing to do is just to take the wheel right off. Okay, now it's time to refill the oil. So this car, when I worked at Honda, we always pumped in 4.3 liters because you could pump it precisely. So, since another one of my cars, the Santa Fe, takes 5W20, I'm not really worried about having a little bit of leftover. In fact, I think I do have a bottle of it sitting somewhere. Now notice I'm using my really old dinosaur age metal funnel. That's because my brake fluid, half a brake fluid container doesn't fit in there very nicely. So we're going to put about 4 liters or so. I've pre-primed the filter actually because it's straight up and down. But I like to use the GTX motor oil. You know, people can have their preference. It turns out that the in-house brand at my local auto parts store, Lordco, it's actually a synthetic blend, and it's kind of a little bit more expensive. But this stuff is cheap, and it's a good product. I've used it in many vehicles for a long time. And they've all stood the test of time, they've all gone the distance. So I trust it completely. And they usually sell it at Costco too, which is where I get it really cheap. So once I finish filling this up, we'll check the oil and start the engine. Okay, so I'm done filling the oil, put the cap back on, I pull the dipstick, and it's really hard with one hand. See that there's fluid, there's enough oil on there, it's in the crosshatch range. Now we're going to go in and we're going to start the car. Oh, obviously got the garage open. Okay, now I don't know if you watch my other video on how to reset a Honda maintenance light, but I'll go through it again. See if I can make that stupid light come on one more time. Okay, so what we do is the trip indicator button, press and hold, and turn the ignition key to run. Now the maintenance required light is right there. Come on. When that one goes out, as you still have your finger on the button, that means it's been reset. Probably wouldn't go off anyway. You should probably see it's only got 62,656 Ks on it, and I recommended it changed last time at 6,400 clicks. So this thing hardly gets driven. So there's a little oil pressure indicator. We'll start the engine and make sure that goes off. And there we go. Now the DRL light will come on if your parking brake is on, but once you take it off, should go back off again. But if that DRL stays on, most likely you got a problem with the module inside. So now that we're done that, we're going to top up the oil. That's the only thing left to do. Now the reason I wanted to do this video is because it was a fairly simple thing, but all Honda V6s have the filters in kind of a weird spot, and plus I just like kind of shooting more vehicles, and this is kind of fun for me. So hope you enjoyed this video. It's the same for Pilots, Odysseys, Ridgelines, and any V6 Honda Accord, any of those, including the new 3.5 liters. Now the 2.4 liter 4-cylinders, they're up at the back of the engine like most CRVs and Civics, the older ones are. And I think in about 2006 or so, they started moving the filters to right beside the drain plug. So those are even easier if you want to attempt that. So, thank you for watching. Got any other requests? Try to shout them out. And